So, hello everybody. Welcome to Black Audio Dramas Exists, the panel. I'm so happy to be here. I was really excited for this particular panel because I think audio dramas are something that needs to be talked about a lot more, particularly Black audio dramas. Because personally, I didn't know about it until probably maybe about a year ago. But I'm so happy to know about it now, and we have some wonderful panelists here with us. Before I introduce them, I would like to remind everybody that if you want to type in chat, type your name and maybe a podcast that you have, and some audio dramas that maybe you've worked on. We would love to see those. And anytime you have a question, there's also a session Q&A area on the right side of the screen where you can type out questions, and we'll be able to possibly read them near the end. So please do that. And also, one more quick thing: don't type in the Zoom area. I know there's a Zoom part where you guys can talk, but try to keep it into the Hoover platform chat, please, and thank you. That's it. So, without further ado, let's get started. So, I would like to introduce my wonderful panelists here with me, one at a time. The first person I would like to introduce is Aisha Casey. Aisha Casey is a Brooklyn
Hello.
native. She is from living out in Los Angeles right now, and she's been working network television for several years. And her audio drama is called Dead Beats. And Dead Beats is where she pulls stories from like different years of life experience from like rich people, poor people, all types of people. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And the next person I wanted to introduce is Experience J. Experience J is a self-published author from Virginia. She's a poet, songwriter, freelance voice actor. She's creative all around. The audio dramas that she's a part of were Past Due audio series and the Kiss, the audio series, which are both amazing. I've listened to some of the episodes for them. And she just loves using sound to create innovative audio experiences for her viewers and for her audience. So thank you for being here, Experience. I
Thank
appreciate it.
you for having me.
Mhm. Our last but not least is Yanni Smith. Yanni Smith is an award-winning filmmaker, writer, producer. She has produced and launched Harlem Queen, which is an audio drama series based on Madam Stephanie Sinclair, who's numbers queen and patron of the Harlem Renaissance. And it's on Apple Podcasts Fiction. It was one of the top podcasts on there, and it's on ABC Prime Time. It was all over the place, but we are very happy to have Yanni here. Thank you so much, Yanni.
Hello, thank you
Yep.
for
Oh, there
having
you go.
me. Thank you so
There you
much.
go. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So, like I said earlier, audio dramas are a thing, and it's something that I don't think a lot of people really know about too much. So, I wanted to get started with the first question for you guys, which is, what is an audio drama even? Like, how do you define it for yourself? Let's start with you can start with experience if you would like to start off with it.
An audio drama for me is it's a basically oral storytelling of sorts, and you use sound and effects and things like that to portray a story. Um, I know for me, it was something that you remember hearing about in school, like they had their fireside chats back in the, what was it, 50s maybe, and things like that, where you could go and listen to stories by around the fireplace or whatever you had back then. And so I think audio dramas are the evolution of that.
Anything else to add, Aisha or Yanni?
I feel the
Yeah.
same. I think, it's kind of like television without the screen, you hear everything that's going on. We invite you into an environment, into a world, and you can listen and take part. And, you don't have to be watching something. You can be driving, you can be working or whatever and listen in and take part.
Yeah, I would agree with the first two definitions. I consider it scripted storytelling told through audio. And like Aisha said, I think it's accessible through, you don't have to be in front of a screen to listen to the story. You can be like, driving your car and going for a run or walking your dog or doing your laundry. That's when I listen to a lot of my podcasts and audio dramas when I'm doing laundry. I have really good, clean laundry now because I listen to a lot of audio drama and a clean house. So yeah.
I think I really enjoy that part where it's, you can basically listen to it anywhere. You don't have to be sitting in front of a TV. You can be walking. You can be exercising in the gym, listen to an audio drama. I think that's really cool. What made you guys get into audio drama in the first place, though? Like, was it something that inspired you? Was it something that you heard and go, wait, what is this? Aisha, would you like to try and answer that?
Sure. So I got into audio drama. I had started listening to a podcast called Dirty John, and that became really big. But it was told in a way that was it wasn't a narrative, it was a reporting style podcast. Okay. And so then they turned Dirty John into a television show. And the same thing happened with Homecoming, not Beyonce Homecoming, but Homecoming on Amazon with Julia Roberts. And so I work in television, and I had an idea for a show that I had been, trying to shop around, trying to get different people to read my script. But then when I realized, I could make this on my own, but I didn't want to make a television series because I didn't have the money to do that. So I figured if they could make Dirty John and they could make Homecoming and it sounds so crisp and clear, and I was really into the story, then I could turn my pilot into a series and just make it as an audio drama. And so that's how I got into it.
That's really cool. Go ahead, Experience. You want to add that? Experience?
For me, I heard, I want to say, Fruit, the Fruit series by Issa Rae Productions, and this was before she was the Issa Rae we know.
Oh yeah, I know about that.
Yeah. So I heard Fruit for the first time, and actually one of my friends, she was like, oh, you should check out this podcast. And I was like, I'm not really into podcasts like that. And she's like, no, but this is like a story, actual story. You would love it. So she sent me the link, and it was on Howl, I think. And so it's a paid platform. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. I heard like both seasons, and I was just like stuck. Like, I have to do this. This has to be something that I do. Cause like, it's just the way, like we were saying before, you don't have to visually see, but I'm an imaginative person. So my mind, I created the whole imagery of it and everything. And so it just worked. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. So yeah, Fruit was the kickoff for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
What about you, Yanni?
Yeah, it sounds like my journey to audio drama is similar to Aisha and Experience J's, where I'm a writer first, and I spent many years as a producer, AP, PA, LP, the whole gamut, working in production and television and film and commercials. And I was constantly applying to fellowships, writing fellowships and those diversity fellowships, and waiting for someone to give me approval to say that the script was good. And while I was doing that, I was listening to, like Aisha said, Homecoming. And then at that point, I decided to make my writing an audio drama. And I decided this before, believe it or not, like literally 2 months before it became an Amazon thing, became a television show. So that was even more of an incentive for me to create it as an audio drama, as, and I think I read this in Aisha's bio, as a proof of concept, like as a launching pad to like get my story out there and make it accessible to people, because I felt it was an important story to tell, and I thought it was very interesting, and I thought other people would find it interesting. So yeah, that's why, because it was accessible, quote unquote affordable, and like cheaper than making it into a pilot or a series.
Right, right. So then when you got that idea, so you wanted to make your own story. What was your whole process behind that? I can go for
So
any of you guys I want to ask, but you can go first. Yeah.
okay, so my first step was writing the script. So I had written it as a pilot, as a television pilot, and an audio drama should be, in my opinion, created differently than a television pilot. You need to write it differently. You need to write it for, for someone to listen to. You don't have the visuals. You have to tell the story through words, and of course, you also have sound. But also, it really helps for it to come through the story and through dialogue. My opinion. So first, I worked on the script. Second, I saved some money because I'm an artist and I wanted to pay my people. I wanted to pay my actors. I personally think that's very important to pay your actors. They're very talented and they put in the work, and I couldn't do it without them. So I started saving some money to at least pay my actors. And then if you want to go step by step, I started researching a studio. And then honestly, it wasn't until I was editing everything that the whole craft of creating the soundscape I realized was a big deal. Like, so it's more than music and footsteps. It's like
Yeah.
the sound of someone sitting in a chair, or the sound of not just any footsteps, like footsteps on a carpeted floor or a wooden floor. I mean,
Mhm.
I can spend hours talking about that. I want other people to speak about that.
Exactly.
But
Yep. Exactly.
yeah, so those were my first few steps.
Mhm. I'm always curious as to how people find or record their own sounds for these audio dramas, because you can easily just go to like a sound library and get the stuff that you need for free. But then I also know that there's something cool about actually recording it in person. But I don't know what about
I
you
would
guys
say
think.
yes and no. You can find some of them, and some of them are good, but some of them are not great, and so
Oh,
it doesn't sound realistic. And so you kind of
yeah.
want to do it yourself. Or for me, and I don't know how this is going to sound, but I like to find Black sound effects, and they don't exist. So
Hmm.
I have to create my own. You know what I'm saying? Like I
Hot
want to hear
take.
a group of Black women laughing, not
Mm-hmm.
so it's hard to find that sound that you're looking for sometimes, and so you got to create it yourself.
Yeah, that for me that was the most fun. If there were sounds that I couldn't find, just like making them on my own, or having friends come over and run up and down my stairs, or push me out of a door so I can get the good slam effect. I mean, it
Yep.
was just crazy, crazy.
Yep.
That's really, really good. It's really cool. So when you were getting the process of like starting and the sound effects and stuff, did you have like a craft idea in your head for any of you guys? A craft idea of your writing style, or just the style of how you want your audio drama to be, that just come naturally to any of you guys?
I mean, for me, because I have been working on this pilot for so long, I was able to see the series kind of in my head. And so when I started writing the episodes, I knew from the pilot where I wanted to go. And I knew that I just wanted to break out each individual character's story a little more. So I'm lost now. What was the question again? Oh,
Did
the
you?
style of the
Yeah.
style of the project. Yeah. So I knew like what I wanted, but then as you start to work in it, as you get the actors, as the layers start to pile up, and you start to hear everything that you're putting together, then you can add more layers to it, because it's one thing to have the actors audio and then to start listening to it, but then you're like, okay, well, I wrote this scene in a park, but no, I want this scene at the beach, and you can, it's so freeing to be able to change it to whatever you want. I think that's the thing about working on an audio drama yourself rather than giving it to a company for them to do it, because you have all of the creative control. I mean, yeah, it costs a lot, and it's a lot of work and a lot of time on your own, but for me, the outcome is worth it because I know that I did, I put all of my thought into all of that.
That's really important. I agree. Were there any issues that came up when you started doing the whole writing and then adding, like what you said, layers upon layers to this? Were there any issues that arose for you specifically? Again, that's a question for all of you guys.
For me, I was working faster than I thought I was going to work. And so putting the episodes together became an issue. I was working with a sound designer, and I knew I was going to do 6 episodes, and I was going to give that person several episodes to do sound design, but I was already on episode 6 with all the dialogue, but they were still on episode 1 with all the audio effects. So I was like, okay,
too slow.
I'm gonna have to do this myself. The thing was, though, I had time. This person did not have time. So I had all the time in the world to work on this. And so that was my only issue. Like, I was working faster than I realized I was going to work.
Yeah, I can relate to that. The sound design was the issue midway through Past Due. And so I had to kind of strap up my boots and be like, okay, I'm gonna do this myself. I'm gonna take care of it because I need this to be done. I need this to be done now, and it's not being done now. So I had to basically take everything. But I'll be honest, with Past Due, I was winging it, like I was completely winging it. I was like, I'm creative, so I'm gonna throw everything in the pot and we're gonna make it work. And it came out really, really good. You know what I'm saying? I get compliments on it, and I'm just like, if you guys know how much I was winging it, like, but thank you.
I think it's a really important point is that even if you know that you're winging it and you might have been all over the place at the time when you were doing it and it turned out really well, no one knows. Everyone just sees the end product.
Exactly.
And you're like, wow, that's amazing. You're like, okay, cool, great. I'm glad. Yeah. Yanni, what about you? Any issues that arose for you?
The issue for me was affording an editor. So I came into this not knowing how to edit or do sound design. Basically, all I knew how to do was write and direct and put productions together because of my work in production. So I went all out and I hired everyone at first, an editor, my sound designer, like I said before. So the second time around, I couldn't afford an editor. So like Experienced Jay was saying and Aisha was saying, I just had to learn how to do it. I just had to learn how to edit it myself. And then once I learned how to edit it, I realized things that I'm happy with the final product. I appreciate my editor. He did a great job, but things that I realized could have been edited differently that I didn't know if I didn't edit it myself. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that was a valuable lesson in that, I knew I would have to learn all of these things later on down the road, but learning it right at that time was invaluable because since then I've started editing things and I realized, like when we're recording, I can, fix that in editing or I can combine. So when I'm writing and recording, I can edit as we're doing that. So that's very helpful. And but sound design, I'm too afraid to I'm not gonna lie. I value too much on like experts like the person I had or now moving forward with Experienced Jay to craft that soundscape. I feel too insecure about that.
You have to know where your skills lie, and then if you think that you can't do a particular skill, you're like, you know what, someone out there can.
Right.
We'll find that one person that you trust and that can do it. So I agree, it's really important, especially with the when you do sound design experience. You understand when you're trying to like find the sound that you want, and some of them sound, not good enough. You're like, I can do this better, and it's a lot of work. It's consistently having to hear things and going, no, no.
Yeah, you know how many times I've listened to like over 150 knocks and be like, that is not it. That that's not how I need. Like, how did I go through 150 knocks and none of them sound the way I need them to sound?
Yep.
Like,
Exactly.
I've been there, and I'm anal, so I hours like, no, this isn't gonna work. That doesn't sound like how she would knock if she was da 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 da. And I'm like, yeah.
That knocks too happy. I don't.
Right. Yeah. And like I was trying to create sounds in the projects, and so you have to have that hollow door, that hollow door knocker, and the hallway when you get out of the elevator. You can't get that everywhere. You gotta call your friends in the project and be like, get in the elevator, walk to your door, knock on it,
and send it,
and put your phone on voice memo, please.
Heel number 87. Can you tap that for me? Nah. You're doing it
too
hard.
Seriously, no, don't get me started on heels. Like,
I know.
Walking sound effects are the worst. It literally sounds like somebody's on there doing like this with their hands, and it's like, no, that is not a real walk. Like, it's the worst. It's the worst.
So as you can see, like when it comes to audio drama, since it's not television, since it's not something that you can just look at, because when you look at television and movies, a lot of things just get passed by in your ear. When someone's walking, you know they're walking because you hear the footsteps and stuff, but you don't even process it because you're focused on what's going on the screen. And the audio series world, you got to use your imagination for that, like what people look like, the way they're walking. It's all it's a very important process. I think.
Yes. Yeah.
So randomly, I just have to mention it because it's just happened to me. I was listening. I'm not going to say the name. I was listening to an audio drama, and the person was on the phone, but it didn't sound like they were on the phone. It sounded like they were on the stage, and I was just like, that wasn't the right. Like, you don't sound like. She's like, hey girl, how you doing? I'm like, yeah, no, that sounds like you're on stage with a microphone. So just finding those intricacies. Like I said, I'm very anal, so like I hear now it's hard for me to listen to some audio dramas because I'm like, oh, my ear, like it's driving me insane. So yeah, even my own, I go listen to a few episodes and I'm like, oh, I should have did that differently, So yeah.
I have a follow-up question for that. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Aisha. You want to say something?
No, that was Yanni.
Oh, Yanni, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Yanni.
Oh, no problem. I was just going to echo what Experience Jay was saying. So this season we recorded the first season we recorded in a studio, and the second season, which we did right after the shutdown in March and April, we all did remotely. So I relied on the actors to record from home, and I was trying to explain to them, the best setup for them so that the audio can sound, it can match. And so my pet peeve, and I'm sure Aisha and Experience Jay will relate, is like that room echo. Oh my gosh, I can't stand that. And I can't get rid of it. You can't, at least I couldn't find any way to get rid of it. So like 3 of the actors had to re-record the whole thing. I said, go to your closet and just put the mic to your mouth. I said, don't by shutting your windows, that's not enough. Go to your closet and record, please.
Yeah.
And so we had to do the whole thing.
Reverb is a big problem, because then once that reverb's in there, you're right, it's very difficult to get out.
Reverb ruins lives. Okay, let me just. The worst. It's the worst. Especially like you said, there are certain programs that will alleviate it, but it doesn't get it where it's authentic. You still can tell it was manipulated in some kind of way. It just does. It doesn't work.
So what I'm taking from this particular part of the conversation was, hey, clean sounds, everybody, please. You do your audio dramas, clean sounds everywhere. Great. I had a follow-up question I want to ask. Like, when do you know that you've been working maybe too much on a particular scene or part in your audio drama? Like, you've been listening to it over and over again. You're like, oh, maybe this knock isn't right, or maybe this knock is a little bit better, but I don't know. So when do you know personally that it's time to just stop and move on to the next one? Like, you can come back later maybe, but right now I can't.
Is that a serious question? For me, I'm learning, but I guess I don't know when that is because like I said, I'm so anal and I will keep going until I get it right. But then I was in a session earlier discussing creative burnout, and I am at that place currently. So that is the result of perfection, creative burnout, and I am there and I'm working on it. Got a therapist, all that good stuff, but I'm there. So I would say just be patient with yourself and be gentle with yourself. Especially if it's your first time getting into it. Like I feel like with the Kiss series, I was a little more knowledgeable, and so things went a little smoother. But like with Past Due, I was all over the place. So just if it's something that you're doing for the first time, just be gentle with yourself and know when to reach out for help. I think that's important also.
Yeah, you guys agree? You have anything to add, Yanni, Aisha?
I was gonna say if you just step away from it, there's nothing that refreshes your mind and your ears more than just stepping away, coming back the next day. If you feel like you've been working on something to death and just can't get that sound right, either open up a new editing thing and work on another piece, or just come back tomorrow.
Same. I would agree. I noticed my work habits since I've been working home all year. Well, since March. And I know that I have a time limit for myself, my attention span, my energy. I can only do it in 20-minute increments. So it's just something that I've just discovered like this year. So I have very productive time in 20 minutes. And after that 20 minutes, like Aisha was saying, I get up, I go get some water, I go like eat some crackers or something, but I'm pacing myself because I know ultimately it's going to get done. And trying for myself personally, trying to go beyond that 20 minutes, that 20 minutes after the good 20 minutes is not productive. I should have just stopped quit while I was ahead. So I give myself my 20 minutes and then I'll take a break, and then I can have another productive 20 minute spurt.
Yeah.
All right. I wanted to real quick switch over to our audio dramas and how they impact, or how you would like to try to impact the Black community. Do you think Black audio dramas in particular are difficult to find in this day and age? Or do you actively...
Not anymore. Right, experience?
I definitely think we've Aisha and I have done our due I'm tongue-tied today. Due diligence to make sure that Black audio dramas are seen and heard. You know what I'm saying? Before I was even talking to Aisha before. Like I literally was on Google looking up Black audio dramas, and that's what started me trying to find them, because I'm like, once I finished Fruit and Black Widow, I was just like, okay, what else is there? Like, there has to be more than just this. And it was very, very difficult to find. And so I definitely made it my mission to, if I had to put hashtags or, go search inbox random people, like, to find it, forums, all those type of things. I went and I found them. And that's kind of how we created Black Audio Dramas Exist. Because we saw that there was that lack and we knew that there were more of us. And I remember the first time we had, a meet and greet with all the Black creators. of audio dramas. Like that was like one of my dopest experiences ever. It was beautiful to see. It was over 20 of us on a Zoom and all created Black audio dramas. And so that's what it's all about for me. I love that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You agree, Aisha?
I mean, yeah, experience, you know, she put together that Instagram page and then we started the Twitter page, and hopefully now people have a place to find us, and we try to filter and bring in all of the Black audio dramas that we know and feature them and showcase them and, you know, put us out there.
Mm.
So I think before we came to the scene, you would have a problem finding Black audio dramas. Now you can't say that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for sure, I think what Aisha and Experience J have done with Black audio dramas exist. I mean, I appreciate it because I'm learning about other Black audio drama creators and the way they manage to amplify. Like, I don't know how you can I don't know how to do graphics on Instagram, but the feed is just like blazing. It's just wonderful. Like, I mean, one feed had showed our rankings one week, and I was like, dang, who did that? I don't know. Did you do that experience, Jay? I mean,
well, we both
you
kind of tackled Black audio drama.
okay? Sorry.
Yeah,
Okay. Sorry, I'm not trying to.
I can't remember which one of us did. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to say one did more than other, but I just, I was just amazed. Like there were so many Black audio dramas that were like in the top 100,
Mm-hmm.
top 50, top 30, top 20. It was just wonderful to see, and that was all through Black audio dramas exist amplification, you know, like amplifying our voices, because it wasn't there. I did Harlem Queen. This is 2019, February 2019. There was this directory called it still exists, Pods in Color, that I would refer to, but I couldn't find that many audio dramas on there. And so I was following them, but it was mostly, you know, under the umbrella of podcasts. But the specific Black audio dramas exist hashtag, I think is just wonderful. If you're looking for audio dramas created by Black creatives, that's the place to go. It's just wonderful. And I personally appreciate the, you know, the shout outs and, you know, everything that Aisha and Experience J have been able to do. I'm glad that you brought me in on that under that umbrella.
Of course, we work hard. We work hard, y'all. This is not easy work.
So this is me asking this question because I am just curious. If you had the time and the money and you didn't have to worry about any of that stuff, and you paid your rent and you got all the food you needed to eat, you were good. What's one story that you would just love to tell? Like what's something that you would either it could be based on a person, or it can just be, you know, a story in your head that you think it would need a lot of production, but you had the money now, so it's okay.
I want to do a time loop piece, and I'm still going to do it without the money and all.
Of course, yes,
but
of course.
but I want to I know that it could, if I had the finances to really do like a full out production, I want to do a time loop piece. I love sci-fi, so I definitely, that's something that is in my near future. I want to do that, and I know that it can be done, but just the certain even sound effects that have to go into it so you know that the person is jumping from one time period to the next without having to visually see that. I know that that's gonna take a lot, and so I do have a story that has been brewing that I have not done yet, but I would definitely make that the priority.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For me, and I am doing a time jumping piece. And I don't like to just say, well, if I had the money, blah blah blah. because I don't care. I'm just gonna do it, and
Mhm.
it's gonna be fantastic.
Mhm.
There you go.
So
Absolutely.
it's just the next project that I'm working on now is it's a historical time jump. It's kind of a thriller type thing. So I'm working on it, and whether I spend $5 and do it, or whether I spend $500,000, it is what it is.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah, same for me. I'm also working on a Western. I'm writing,
Mhm.
I've actually started writing a Western, and we started recording a Western that features a Black woman based on the true life of two Black women who were pioneers in the West in the 1870s during Reconstruction. So
Mm,
I am fascinated, of course, probably for obvious reasons, by the Reconstruction era, and
mm.
telling our story. Sorry, I'm not going to say our story. This one woman's story during that era. I kind of like to liken it to the Black version of Gone with the Wind,
Mm.
because traveling across the country, she's in search of her family that was sold away from her during um, slavery. And so this is the Reconstruction era. So her friend is a Black lawyer who is based on an actual Black lawyer who existed in 1875. So I'm excited about telling that story, and that's in the works. That's going to be out, like, hopefully by January.
Mhm. Mhm. So then, what would you give, or what advice would you give to people that maybe want to start, maybe don't know where to go to begin? Like, what would advice would you give to aspiring audio drama writers, voice actors, all of them? And then it'll be just one. It can be multiple tips if you like.
Just write, get started. I know for me with Past Due, I literally sat on Past Due for 3 years before I released it. And a lot of it was fear, and not knowing what to do. But I would just say, just write and just, reach out for help if you need it. I know that it's hard because you do, a lot of the times you don't know where to go, or you don't know what resources you have. I know, my inbox is open. I might not respond right away, but I'll respond eventually. Um, and if you need to just questions and stuff like that, feel free to reach out and ask. But overall, you got to just go with the flow, and do what's best for you. I know I had my friends. I utilized uh my crew, so to speak. Like, with Past Due, a lot of the voice actors were friends of mine, and then I kind of went out from there and started to hire people. But initially, like, I used what I had available to me, So definitely use your resources.
Mhm.
I would say, listen to audio dramas, figure out which ones you like, which style you want to create, and then come to Black Audio Dramas Exists on Instagram or Twitter and reach out to us. And we have all done this, and we
Mm.
all have our different experiences, and we can, share our advice, do's and don'ts with you. But yeah, you got to write it. You gotta write it for the ear. So listen
Mm.
to audio dramas so you can hear how they crafted a script, because it's different than writing a television show, completely different. So that's a starting point. For voice actors, I would just say just look out for audio drama postings, I guess. Look out for auditions being held. Go on Twitter. Twitter is all of the audio dramas are always casting. They're always making posts. Just follow the audio dramas that you like. Get into groups, follow those people, and you'll make a way.
Yeah, I think that's like both what Aisha and Experience Jay said is pretty much what I was going to say. Craft a great story, use the resources and community that you have. Um, uh, um, let's see, as far as voiceover actors, I didn't know any actors. At least I did know actors 30 years ago when I was, running, in the midst of, I call it BC, before children. Before I had children, I knew more people. So all of those people that I knew, I just don't know anymore. So I went into backstage, and I did my casting through Backstage. And I found some wonderful, wonderful people through that process. Also, like Aisha said, listening to audio dramas is very helpful. It is a different medium than television and movies. So the way you craft the story is different. Also, now what I started doing to help me in crafting my scripts is listening to TV and movies, listening to them more so than watching them, and listening to how they use the sound design and those mediums, that like the footsteps in those mediums, like, they're fake. I mean, now that I listen to them, I know those running footsteps are
Right.
not real. Like now,
Right.
it's so obvious to some people, but new to me. But listening to that and listening to what is insinuate, I think is the word, what is hinted at, so that if you hear like an owl off in the distance, oh, that means nighttime. So those audio cues, I think, as far as crafting I'm going off on a tangent with the sound design, because that's like my
It's a
obsession as
huge
well.
part.
But
It's a huge part. It makes
yeah,
sense.
it is so huge. But I just never know, like listening to the birds now today has become like a big deal. Listening to, like, I can tell the difference between, a truck and a car, that's obvious, but you know what I mean.
That's what starts to happen.
So, yeah. So, yeah, I would say, build your community. Building community is invaluable. I'm learning, like Aisha said, going on Twitter, Instagram, meeting people, saying hi to people. Aisha reached out to me so long ago, and I honestly was not prepared, because I was like a fan of the show. And I wanted to, anyway, we'll talk about that later, Aisha. But she was so kind. She reached out to me, but I didn't know what to do, honestly. But now it's taken a year, so now I feel like I can connect better. So anyway, build that community. It's wonderful. It's invaluable.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of places you can go or people you can ask. Just reach out, like what they were saying. Reach out and ask even more questions, and just get started with it. Speaking of questions, though, we have a few. If anyone has any other questions that they'd like to ask, you can absolutely ask them in the session Q&A. But this first question is from Bry. Bry said, my podcast is an interview-based show, but I love the way audio dramas use sound design to create atmosphere. How can I use the sensibilities of an audio drama to make my interviews more interesting and compelling?
That's a great question. That's a great question. I would say I guess it depends on maybe if you have various segments, or, you wanted something to stand out. I don't know exactly how it works. I would also, what is your podcast about, if you don't mind me asking?
You can, let me unmute you if you would like to say anything, Bry. No? Oh, I don't know if Bry's there or not.
Okay, I'm just curious to know what it's about, because then I could give like specific examples. It's hard to generalize.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, oh, go ahead.
No, go on.
I don't know if he or she is there, but it just depends. It definitely depends on what your show is about. If you want to create specific atmospheres for different parts of it or different things that are going on in your show, maybe listen to other podcasts that do that and try to emulate that. Or if you're trying to do like a specific kind of soundtrack or score to your show to make it more heightened, I mean, there are different instrumentals that you can get that would help you to do that.
Yeah.
Bryce said
Yeah.
that their mic isn't working right now, but
Oh, okay.
they're listening.
Yeah, I
say-
would chime.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
I would just say like music is invaluable. Of course, that's an obvious thing, but also just like what Aisha and Experience Jay were saying, kind of depends on your topic. If let's say you're interviewing someone who cuts hair, like in a barbershop, the barbershop has a distinct sound. If you
Mhm.
go into the barbershop and only listen and not, pay attention to what's the visual, you have like, I don't know, the sound of a newspaper getting, read, or the clippers, or someone sweeping the floor, or guys talking, mumbling, talking in the back, the sound of, what do you call it? The apron being shaken out. There's so much sound in a barbershop. So you can create that audio. I feel that you can create that audio landscape in just about any situation, even with someone reading a book in a quiet room reading a book, because you can have the sound of the person sitting in the chair, of turning the pages, of sipping tea while they're reading. So if you just I know it sounds easier said than done, but if you just pay attention to the audio cues and what those things do, those little sounds do to like expand the imagination.
Bree said that their podcast is about disabled people of color and their lives.
I mean, that is all audio right there, like, wow.
I would say, like, because she said interview, if they were telling a story during the interview or something like that, you could utilize that time to kind of bring in certain sounds and things. I will say that you'll likely have to create a lot of your sounds yourself. But it definitely can be done. And I think, especially during the storytelling portion of the interview, like if they're explaining their lives, the day in the life of, that you could utilize those sounds to bring the story to life as they're telling it.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to take some time. You're going to have to go out and make those sounds,
Yeah.
go out into the environment that they would be in and record those sounds. But that would definitely bring your show alive in a different way.
It's doable. I like the idea. I say go for it.
Yeah, just do it. Yeah, that's a really good question. Thank you so much, Bri. Another question from Nicole. Nicole said, would you suggest a person have a background in acting or go through some kind of training in acting to produce an audio drama?
No.
Yeah, I was going to say no, honestly.
If you want to, I mean, it just depends on what other aspirations you have. If everybody wants to perfect their craft in their own way. So I don't say that that you shouldn't do it, but is it absolutely necessary? No.
She said to produce, but is she going to be acting in it, or is she just producing it? Because that's two different questions. So if she's just producing it, then you don't have to have a background in acting, because you're not going to be acting in it. You're going to be creating and making it. But if you're going to be acting in it, I mean, you can answer that question in so many different ways. If you want it to be outstanding, then I would go ahead and take some acting courses, because are you using your friends as the judge of your acting, or are you trying to go further with this? So that just depends on how skilled you are. If you're going to be acting in it yourself, how confident you feel, how skilled you are, and are you sharing this with other people that are giving you feedback?
True. Yeah, because I will say the one thing I hate is when I hear an audio drama and the acting is horrible.
Right.
It ruins it, especially if it's a great story. It ruins
it definitely takes you right out, and you don't want to continue listening to it because it's just like,
oh, I just got sad.
I'm available for hire, by the way. Hire me.
No, I will chime in and just say that, like, what I was thinking is that I think it's a good like if you're an actor and you're trying to keep yourself busy and put yourself out there, I do feel that audio dramas are a good option. Just like, YouTube was, however many years ago. I also do feel that the craft of voice acting is a craft all its own. I mean, and that's something that I'm just realizing. I just realized after, pretty much rehearsal of the first season is that I'm so appreciative of my actors. I think they're incredibly talented. I just want to single out the young lady, Gabrielle Atkins, who plays Madame Stephanie St. Clair. The way she's able to manipulate the crack in her voice and that hesitation and that pause and that anger, that simmering anger is just, I just think is magnificent. And that's something that I think you have to be I don't know, I'm not an actor. I have too far much respect for actors to even suggest that I am an actor, but as someone who's creating these things through the vessel of an actor and an actor's voice, I am so appreciative of how much she's able to invest in just quote unquote just her voice, because when we hear her, we can hear that hesitation, that simmering anger, that frustration. You can hear all of that in her voice. So I do think that as an actor, it is a little different. I would imagine a lot different than being on film and video where you can use your face. Audio, you can only use your voice. And I think it's amazing when actors are able to manipulate or transcend, or not transcend, but to bring out those pauses and all of that emotion, quote unquote, only through voice.
Okay, nice. Unfortunately, I don't think we have enough time for any more questions, but if anyone has any more questions, I'm sure they said, email them, talk to them. Where can we find you guys? Yanni, where can we find you?
Okay, so I am on Twitter at Audio Harlem, and I'm on Instagram at Harlem Queen Audio Drama, and my website is harlemqueen.org, and I'm also on Facebook at Harlem Queen. Thank you.
All right. Aisha?
I am on Twitter at deadbeats_INC. Also on Instagram, the same thing, deadbeats_INC. My main Twitter account is Aisha Boom, BOOM. And then my website is aishac.com.
All right. Experience. I saw you typed it in the chat, but
yeah, I'm gonna put it in the chat too, so they can have it. Because I have too many IGs and Twitters, but on IG, my personal page is at Experience J, at Past Due Audio Series, and at Kiss the Audio Series. On Twitter, it is at Experience J, Past Due Audio, and Kiss the Audio. So, and I'll write it in the chat also.
Okay. Well, that just about concludes this panel. Everyone that came and to say hi and to talk, thank you so much. And a huge thank you to the panelists. They're all amazing and wonderful and all very successful in my eyes. And I learned so much from you guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us. I enjoyed this.
Thank you.
Thank you. So great. Appreciate y'all.
Thanks.
Tune in for the rest of the festival, everybody. All right.
All right.
Have a good day.
Okay. Thank
You
you.
too. Thank you.